Babylon torched Blake Lively in court, and when we say torched, we're talking no mercy, no escape, no PR spin strong enough to cover it up. The lies, vaporized. The reputation in shambles. And guess who else got dragged down in the process? Ryan Reynolds. Mr. Deadpool himself had to crawl out of the golden couple fantasy they've carefully crafted for over a decade and face the cold, humiliating spotlight. We're talking public apologies, not little Instagram stories. No, Blake and Ryan were forced to come crawling with their heads down, begging for forgiveness from Justin Baldoni, the same man Blake tried to ruin with one of the dirtiest lawsuits in recent Hollywood history. What started as your typical celebrity versus celebrity legal squabble just erupted into something no one, not even Blake Lively, could control. The woman who once had Hollywood eating out of her hand, yeah, she's now eating humble pie, watching her support base crumble while Justin delivers blow after blow in court. At this point, it's not even a trial, it's a public reckoning. And she started this. Remember how it all began? The headlines exploded when Blake Lively declared war on her It Ends With Us co-star and director, Justin Baldoni. She accused him of sexual harassment, bullying, body shaming, the whole playbook, and the world ate it up at first. Blake had the perfect image, glamorous, righteous, and oh so relatable. She took center stage like she was on a crusade for justice. But here's the catch. The more her claims were dissected, the more they just didn't add up. Old interviews, offhand comments, even friendly texts between her and Justin. Stuff started surfacing and it wrecked the story she was selling. Turns out, people don't like being lied to, especially when you use social justice as your sword.
One of the most beloved actors in this town. And that's why, look, when you see people doing commercials, you know that they've checked out their popularity. I mean,
Right, because normally that's something that actors don't want to do, but you know he knows he can do it because it's not going to affect his Q rating.
Yet.
And let's not forget, this wasn't just about Justin anymore. The minute Ryan Reynolds got involved, everything exploded. For years, the internet worshipped Blake and Ryan like they were Hollywood's last wholesome couple. But behind the witty tweets and filtered photos, something darker was hiding. Because now people are asking, how much did Ryan know? And more importantly, how far did he go to protect Blake's version of the truth? The man famous for mocking scandals and dodging drama now found himself neck deep in it. And silence wasn't saving him this time.
Very, very close to me in my life, who's gone through what Lily's going through for a long time, and I've been on the front lines helping her navigate that space. So that movie meant a lot to me. Yeah. And it means a lot to her, this person in my life, and it was one of the reasons that me doing that film gave her the strength to change her life. So like.
You stay focused on that.
Yeah, it means a lot to me. So it's unfortunate that things get taken away from what the ethos of that thing is, and it gets convoluted.
And then came the fat-shaming scandal, a bizarre twist that no one saw coming but became the very core of this legal battlefield. Apparently, a celebrity trainer, handpicked by Blake, was the one making comments about Baldoni's body. Comments that got flipped, repackaged, and turned into new allegations aimed right back at Justin. Can you imagine? The very people Blake introduced are the ones fanning the flames of the very thing she claimed she was a victim of. And it gets even juicier. In her lawsuit, Blake accused Justin of causing her severe emotional distress. She claimed he talked about his alleged adult entertainment addiction and made inappropriate sexual comments. Her lawyers painted her as the wounded heroine. But Justin's team, they came with fire. They said her claims were false, manufactured, and designed to manipulate the court of public opinion, not seek actual justice. They didn't stop there. They called her lawsuit a stunt, an image cleanse, and then they went nuclear.
I take on more than I can chew. I say yes to things out of fear. I people please.
Justin Baldoni hit back with a $400 million 0 cents defamation lawsuit, and he didn't stop at Blake. He dragged in Ryan Reynolds and their publicist too. Why? Because according to him, this wasn't just a solo act. This was a whole PR team operation, a scheme to take control of the movie by assassinating his character and credibility.
Of success and opportunity. And I sent this text this morning and I just said, I love you both. I just need you to know I'm not in the best place. I woke up at 4:30 this morning. My son's had the flu. I'm not feeling great. My heart was racing. I'm noticing that, I'm having some anxiety.
And then Justin dropped the receipts, text messages, friendly conversations, inside jokes, proof that the working relationship between him and Blake wasn't hostile at all. In fact, it looked downright warm, but Blake's team fired back fast. Cherry-picked, they claimed, out of context. And yet, the court of public opinion didn't quite buy it. See, for years, Blake Lively played the role of body positivity queen. She spoke out about Hollywood's obsession with thinness. She advocated for self-love, acceptance, and realness. But now she's being accused of doing the exact opposite behind the scenes, of mocking others for their weight and contributing to the toxic environment she claimed to be fighting.
On your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump. What about my bump?
And then came the damning video, one that allegedly shows Blake fat-shaming and mocking a journalist. Let that sink in. While she's accusing Justin of mistreatment, a video surfaces of her doing the very thing she's crying about in court. You couldn't write a more ironic plot twist. Some claim it was offhand, a joke, just Blake being Blake. But in Hollywood, where image is everything and words cut deep, that matters. And suddenly fans were like, wait, was this ever real? Was she ever truly a champion for inclusivity, or was it all just another brand strategy? The betrayal hit hard, and when the backlash reached its peak, Blake's legal team made a desperate move. They filed for a strict protective order. Their reason? Threats, harassment, online danger. But Justin's camp wasn't buying it. They said it was a cover-up, a strategy to hide the evidence. And then came the courtroom showdown. Justin and Blake walked into what was supposed to be a simple 30-minute hearing. It lasted 90 minutes, and in that hour and a half, Justin shredded Blake's case to pieces. Her legal motions, all denied, every single one.
We're going to move as quickly as we possibly can and prove our innocence in a world where sometimes people judge you before they give you a chance.
She thought she'd strong-arm Justin with a $250 million zero-cents harassment claim. She thought the pressure, the headlines, and the fees would break him. But instead, she got hit back with double the force. And this time, she was the one scrambling for defense. And you know what's wild? The actual trial hasn't even started yet. All this chaos, this was just the warm-up. And the court didn't just reject her motions. They humiliated her team. Like straight up told them no on every account. The plan had failed. Blake Lively, the queen of curated perfection, now finds herself exposed, stripped of the very image she spent years building. And the public, watching, judging, waiting. Blake Lively built her empire on truth, honesty, and standing up for what's right. But now she's out here asking judges to hide evidence from the public. That's right. After preaching transparency her whole career, she's suddenly desperate to keep things under wraps. Why? Because the real story is starting to leak, and it's not the one she carefully rehearsed for the press. Her request for a much stricter protective order came right after Baldoni's team dropped a clip that poked massive holes in her story. And that timing? It wasn't a coincidence. People are asking, if Blake is really the victim she claims to be, why is she working so hard to shut everyone up?
Lively is seeking additional legal protection. Amid the It Ends With Us actress's ongoing court battle with the film's director and star Justin Baldoni, Blake's legal team has submitted a letter on her and husband Ryan Reynolds' behalf requesting a more comprehensive protective order amid the litigation.
Even legal analysts are calling it out. Why the sudden panic over evidence being released? Why block the footage? Unless it exposes you? Her team says it's for privacy and safety. But critics say it's just damage control. And honestly, the public isn't stupid. The minute someone starts hiding stuff, people assume there's something big to hide. Justin's team flipped the narrative like pros. They basically said, look at her run, why would she hide evidence unless she knows it blows her story to pieces? And that argument is working. The internet started dragging Blake like never before. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, it did. Because then came the Balenciaga bombshell. Blake Lively, who once stood on a fancy stage condemning the fashion industry's unethical practices, who gave speeches about morality and holding brands accountable, showed up at the Super Bowl in a full Balenciaga outfit. Yes, that Balenciaga, the same brand that's been under fire for some of the most disturbing ad campaigns in recent fashion history. And Blake, the woman who once called out Hollywood for ignoring ethical lines, she strutted into one of the biggest events of the year proudly draped in their logo. The hypocrisy off the charts. People were furious. They dug up her old speeches, compared them to her new photos, and the questions started spreading fast. Was Blake ever really about the message, or was she just playing the part? It felt like the final betrayal.
How actively the Lively parties have publicized and litigated Ms. Lively's claims in the media. We are surprised to now learn how vehemently she wants to prevent the public from accessing material.
Fans who once idolized her started unfollowing. The same people who saw her as a role model began posting videos saying, we were wrong about her. And just when the PR team probably thought, okay, let's lay low and ride it out, boom, Justin's legal team drops a whole new refiled complaint, this time with a revised timeline and damning new evidence. It was a tactical move, and it hit like a wrecking ball. At the heart of it all, newly submitted text messages and internal documents, some of which allegedly show Blake being manipulative, calculated, and fully aware of the narrative she was spinning. And one message was a Ryan Reynolds quote that had everyone talking. He texted, "All this to say, I'd have your line producer's face tattooed to my perineum if he, she, they could figure out how to start 2 weeks earlier. Excuse us?" That's the man who spent years playing the goofy, lovable husband who claims to be about respect and support. Now he's getting dragged into the mess with crude, questionable messages in court. The text showed something way worse than contradiction. They suggested intent, a deliberate bending of the truth, a careful crafting of Blake's victimhood to support a broader PR strategy. Not just confusion, but plotting. And suddenly people were seeing Blake not as the wronged woman, but as the mastermind of her own downfall. And Ryan, her accomplice. The worst part? This wasn't just about who said what. The new evidence paints a clear picture of two powerful celebrities trying to control a production, shut down dissent, and silence their opposition, all while pretending to be champions of honesty and inclusion. And fans, they've had enough. The cracks in Blake and Ryan's picture-perfect marriage are finally showing. They used to be the internet's favorite couple. Now, people are openly asking if their entire relationship has been built on branding, not love. Blake's sudden scramble to bury evidence, Ryan's sarcastic, cocky texts, the aggressive legal strategy. It's not just about one lawsuit anymore, it's about trust. And for many fans, that trust is officially broken. By this point, the entire case had shifted. This wasn't just Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni. No, this had become Blake and Ryan versus the truth. And the world was watching, closer than ever. Every move Blake made, every word Ryan uttered or refused to say was being dissected in real time. You couldn't scroll through Twitter without seeing their names trending next to phrases like fake feminist, performative activist.
Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, this is who they're focusing on specifically, that they say almost every day he has done TV interviews, he's issued statements, he's appeared on podcasts, and that he even allegedly leaked information about the case, such as document preservation notices that were sent over. In other words, that he is improperly litigating this case in the media and the public and not the courtroom. So their argument is not only is this an example of further retaliation against
And while Blake Lively fought tooth and nail to silence Baldoni, Justin's team wasn't backing down. They took their boldest step yet. They refiled the complaint, and this time it came with new dates, new text messages, and new receipts. This wasn't just a legal update, it was a full-on narrative nuke. The text revealed more than just inconsistency. They exposed something more sinister, the idea that Blake and Ryan may have been orchestrating an entire campaign to frame Baldoni as abusive while trying to snatch creative control of the film from him behind the scenes. The phrase calculated deception started trending, and suddenly Blake's courtroom theatrics didn't seem so noble. Because if these new messages were true, she wasn't a brave woman standing up for herself. She was a woman using her fame to weaponize public sympathy, dragging Justin through the mud to gain power. People began revisiting her past interviews, ones where she talked about being a voice for the voiceless or never staying silent about injustice. Now, those clips felt like a slap in the face. She preached authenticity, but the mask was slipping, and Ryan, he was no longer just the supportive husband. He was allegedly helping to enforce silence, using legal channels to try to gag Justin's team. Let that sink in. The guy known for roasting people on Twitter was now being called out for helping cover up a PR disaster his wife started. And all of this was just the beginning, because while Blake's legal team scrambled to suppress the new evidence, Justin's team leaked enough to shift the conversation for good. Texts where Blake is allegedly mocking Baldoni behind his back. Messages where Ryan allegedly jokes about getting what they want if they apply enough pressure. This wasn't just poor judgment, it was strategy.
Or not, in the whole Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni fiasco, I don't think you realize just how much Ryan Reynolds has been a problem behind the scenes. Yes, I'm sure you've heard some of it, but never to the depths that we're going to get into today. Hey guys, it's IQ, and today we're discussing Ryan's problematic behavior and how I believe that behind the scenes, he has an even bigger footprint in Blake's downfall, and we're gonna go over every single nitty-gritty detail. The catastrophic war between Justin Baldoni as the director and Blake Lively as the lead actress shows just how important the relationships between.
And with the trial set for March 2026, there's only one direction this is going. More leaks, more videos, more public meltdowns, and possibly the end of Hollywood's golden couple as we know it. The carefully curated personas, the branded marriages, the staged activism, it's all crumbling. People aren't just watching this trial for justice. They're watching to see if the truth still matters in an industry built on fiction. And if Blake and Ryan think they can come back from this with a Notes App apology and a Vanity Fair cover, they're in for the rudest awakening of their careers. Because this isn't just about losing a case. It's about losing everything they once stood for. And as of now, the public has made up its mind. They're done believing the lie.